Apparently, according to Dying Light developer, the Xbox Series S GPU is holding us back. Let's have a little discussion about this. What is going on, guys? Major Ben back with yet another brand new video. I do hope you guys are having an absolutely fantastic day as always. Before we get into this, if you do enjoy the video, please do consider leaving a like, and if you don't enjoy it, go down to the comment section, let me know what I can do to improve on my content, because I'm always looking for new ways to improve on what I'm doing. If you really enjoy it, please do consider subscribing, and you can stay out to late with all the latest and greatest Xbox news. So just the other day, a developer actually came out on Twitter. He was called Timon Smekatala. I can't pronounce the guy's name, but anyway, he's one of the developers, or one of the workers on Dying Light. I think he was the lead designer actually. And there's an article I'm going to be reading a couple of bits from it, and then we're going to discuss it. So Dying Light 2 might be impressive for fans on next-gen consoles, but its performance on the Xbox Series S and X, in fact, leaves a lot to be desired. According to players, in response to fans calling for additional graphics options and performance improvements on the less powerful platform, Dying Light 2 lead designer Timon Smekatala shares details on what Techland is going to do to combat these issues and expand options in the future. Techland was revealed that various performance optimizations will be implemented, but what does this mean for the wider performance issues faced by Xbox Series S players? Smekatala suggests that the console is simply not powerful enough to handle Dying Light 2 and exploring Villador at high frame rates, despite the fact that there are several other open world games that run at 60 FPS on the Xbox Series S. Smekatala explains that Dying Light 2 is a special case due to the density and verticality of its world. Dying Light 2 streams more data than its peers, he says. He also claims the Xbox Series S GPU is holding Techland back from making performance improvements. Now, let's look at the Twitter post that was originally by Leo K. He tweeted to @TechlandGames and Smekatala TM. My partner and I got very sick and have to stop playing Dying Light 2 because of motion blur, the lack of FOV slider, 30 FPS, and head bobbing on Series X and S. Lots of people saying same thing on Reddit. Any word on a fix for this? Thank you. And Timon Smekatala replied saying, we're fixing the co-op issues first. The demand broke Sony, Microsoft, Epic sewers. I'm assuming he meant servers there. Motion sickness will be addressed in the first upcoming patch. I really question how they address something like motion sickness on a game like this. And then he says FOV plus motion blur will be considered for the next. 30 FPS on Series S will be looked at, but the console's GPU is holding us back. Now, this is a very interesting one. He's clearly outright saying the Series S is not powerful enough to run this world at 60 FPS. Now, the majority of the time with the Series S, the actual CPU itself is basically identical to what is in the Series X and the PlayStation 5. It's slightly less powerful than the Series X, but basically on exact par with the PlayStation 5 CPU. The GPU, however, is still a very powerful GPU. Now, if it's not going to be able to get things from the CPU to the GPU fast enough, or sorry, the other vice versa, and the GPU is kind of holding things back, then yes, I agree. But we have plenty of other open worlds, and I hate to be an armchair developer, but we have games like Valhalla, a fantastic looking game with a 60 FPS option on the Xbox Series S, sorry. That's the thing. We are getting games like Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I believe there's actually every game that's been released so far with Series S support has a 60 FPS option, except for maybe like 2. So this is just basically not good enough. There are plenty of games that are open world, big enough worlds like this. Valhalla is a far bigger map than the Dying Light map, and it still has its verticality, maybe not in the exact same way, but it's way bigger and way more vertical than something like Dying Light 2. And that game runs at 60 FPS. Games like Metro Exodus actually have a 1440p 60 FPS with ray tracing mode on that game. And yes, it's not quite on the same scale, but it's still there. And I know for a fact that the difference between the Series S and the Series X is not going to just be a matter of 30 FPS as well. The game is also not very well designed designed for Xbox Series X. If the Series S is able to do 1080p 30, the Series X should be able to do flipping native 4K 60, or at least 1440p 60. And Time and Smectala, are you using every feature that's in the box? Are you really? Can you really say you're using all the RDNA 2 features? Are you using velocity architecture? Are you using everything that this box is capable of? No, absolutely not. And the same with the PlayStation 5 and the same with the Series X. This game is phenomenal. I absolutely love what this game is doing. It's so different. Dying Light 2 is just so different from any other open world game, and I'm having a fantastic time with it. But on every single system, even though it does look like a good looking game, 1080p across the board is unacceptable. And the Xbox One X is running the exact same thing as it is on the Xbox One S, on the Xbox Series S, sorry. It's the same, 1080p 30. The One X is, yes, it has a bigger teraflop GPU, but as everyone keeps saying, it's not about teraflops. It's not, and it isn't all about teraflops. There are so many things the Series S is better at than the Xbox One X, yet they're running the exact same resolution and frame rate. It is just an outright disappointment in performance-wise on this game, and it's a shame because it's such a gorgeous looking game, especially in the 30 FPS resolution mode on Series X. That should be boosted. That should be so much better. That should be 1440p at 60 FPS. That should be where that is. And you know, the actual 30 FPS mode, it is okay. I mean, it's you know, I don't really like playing the 30 FPS mode. That looks good, but it should no way near be 60 FPS at 1080p on the Series X and 60 FPS and 30 FPS and 1080p on the Series S. It's a joke. There are so many games out there. Halo Infinite even has 120 FPS mode. Call of Duty Vanguard has 120 FPS mode. You cannot tell me that those games can do that, and this game can't even hit 60 FPS on the Xbox Series S. And you know, unless you're saying you're using every single bit of power for the box, or I don't know, the engine that you're using for this game is just simply not capable, and it's just more difficult for the things like the Series S to run, then I guess fair enough. But I guarantee, I very much strongly feel that give it a couple of months and we'll get a 60 FPS patch for the Xbox Series S, even if it's running at 900p. It's just the fact that everyone else is managing to do an option for the Series S, like a performance option. Everyone else is doing it. All the other developers are doing it for this box. Hey Siri, go away. Every other option is being done, but except for the this game, and it's just crazy that this is something that we're still dealing with, to be honest. And it's laziness from the lead designer here, I personally think. And to come out and just say that on Twitter, I think is bad. To come out and just say it's a lot because the GPU is holding us back, like, when actually I think even since then he has come out and said, well, no, actually he basically takes it back and kind of says it's the fact that we didn't have the time. So I don't know, it's interesting. Let's see what happens in the future. I will keep you guys updated on this stuff. Make sure you subscribe and like, and yeah, I'll see you in future videos, guys. Bye bye for now.